Mark Yates pre-Bury at home then. Mark, what's been the fallout of losing at Chesterfield last week in training this week? Have you been sort of just saying to the players, well, look, just make sure it doesn't happen again and just make sure it's a one-off?
We've got to learn from it. I can't say it's not going to happen again. We've got to do all we can to make sure it doesn't. We're beaten by a better side, and sometimes you've got to hold your hands up. And you know, they've got a fantastic budget, they've got a fantastic new ground there, and they've got some really good players, and we got beat, and we've got to learn quickly. But we've got to learn next week when we go away from home. I don't worry about our home performances. I know that we've got to get on the front foot, and you know, we did something slightly different against Chesterfield, and if we hadn't conceded early, I think it would have been the right way to go. But we're at home, you know, we know what we're about at home, and we've got to make sure that we continue that on Saturday.
Yeah, the home form has been very good. You've got 2 home games in a row, obviously Oxford on Tuesday as well. Do you look at them as a pair, or do you look at them individually first?
I suppose it is 2 home games where you're looking for points, but you can only concentrate on one game at a time. Bury are a good outfit. You know, they've been always in and around the playoffs the last few years. Alan's had to rejig it. You know, they've had to bring in 1 or 2 younger players, but they've got some very good players, and they've got a good squad, and it'll be a decent game of football. Both teams like to play, and we've got to make sure that we do what we do very well.
They haven't kept a clean sheet all season yet. I mean,
I know the feeling.
It's got 0-0 written all over it, hasn't it?
Listen, I've said all along we're not going to be perfect. You know, we're not going to be winning every game and dominating teams, but we've got a young squad who are learning the ropes, who try and play good football, who try and do things right, and we're not going to get everything right. You know, to start with, we haven't got a lot of experienced pros who've played, you know, 250 games at this division. It's a tough league, and it's a tough place to learn, but my players will only get better for it. We've had to deal with a couple of different teams when they've come down to our place, but we've done that, and Saturday will be no different. They'll play a system that we haven't come across this season yet, but they'll be good at it. We've got to make sure that whatever system we play, we enjoy it, we work our socks off, and we try and keep on doing the right thing at the right time. And if we do that, you know, I'll have no complaints with my players.
How important is it that your players are mentally strong? Because obviously, teams, it's a lot easier if you're winning games and keeping clean sheets, but with Cheltenham that hasn't always been the case, and if you're playing an open style, they have got to, you know, be able to bounce back in games.
Yeah, it's important. It's vitally important. But one good thing with a young group is that, you know, they sometimes they just forget what's happened in the last game and the negatives, and they can just, you know, override it with positives throughout the next week, and, you know, take that into the game. And they've been good in training. The attitude's been spot on. You know, they realised that things didn't go as well as we would have liked last Saturday, but it's not going to stop them from trying to play and trying to do the right thing and trying to be a dominant force on Saturday.
Does that in a way make it easier for you to work with them, because there's not a bunch of gnarled old pros who've heard it all before?
Of course it does. Of course it does. You know, sometimes you can get a lot of times you can get good experienced players, but you've got to have that mix. We've got a mix, but we're probably a little bit short of people who've played 200 games in this league, who know what it's about. And that's, I'm not moaning. You know, we've got what we've got, and we won't use it as an excuse not to succeed, not to do well. You know, we know we've got to improve our away form, and that starts next week. But we've got two games where hopefully we can address the balance, and hopefully we can pick up some points. Starting with Bury on Saturday.
One of the players who has got that sort of experience you're talking about, Steve Elliott, do you feel that he's beginning to sort of bed in now, having not had a long pre-season here?
I think Steve's done, you know, very well, along with nearly all the players. You know, they've all lived up to what I thought they would be, and more. Like I said, we're far from the finished article. You know, we've literally put a squad together. They're young, and I'm not using that as an excuse. It's a fact. And we'll continue to work really hard on the training ground. We'll continue to try and express themselves, trying to play with a smile on their face in games, particularly our home games. And as I said before, we've got to sort our away form out. I'm confident that we'll do that. We've just got to make sure that we keep picking up points at home, and just play with the freedom that we have got. You know that we know we've got to keep working on things, but like I said, we're not going to be the finished article straight away.
Injuries? How's your squad? Obviously, there's
fine.
one long-term injury.
Just the same, really. You know, Martin, Frankie, and Josh probably. Well, Martin and Frankie definitely. Josh probably a couple of days too early. So we'll have to see. But apart from that, you know, we're okay. We're trying really hard Monday and Tuesday, really well, and we'll continue, you know, working towards Saturday today.
Joseph, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mark, you mentioned having to learn from Chesterfield. Do you think a lot of this season will rest on how quickly they can learn from things like that?
I think a lot of it will rest on when we do have a bit of a beating like we had last week, is how can we pick ourselves up for the next one in a positive manner. You know, there's no point moping about, there's no point beating ourselves up and being negative about it. It's about how, you know, more often than not they've been in away performances, and it's about how we respond then in our next home one. You know, and you know, we know we've got to sort our away form out, but like I say, we're a young bunch. Some of them are playing, you know, their first couple of seasons in league football, and that'll happen. But I'm confident that will. But it's about how we just approach the next one. And if we don't win in the next game, it's about then how we approach the next one and the one after that. You can only deal with what's in front of you. We've got to learn as a group where mistakes are being made and how we rectify that. But you know, that's not going to come overnight, and we'll continue to work on it week in, week out, day in, day out.
Yeah, you said Bury were probably going to come with a system you haven't faced yet this season. What are you expecting?
Yeah, they
from them?
play pretty much 4-4-1-1. They play a striker just off Bishop probably. They keep the ball, they pass it. They've got lots of energy. They've got lots of good players, and it'll be a decent game of football. Both teams like to play, and we've got to deal with whatever they throw at us. You know, if they play 4-4-2, if they play something, whatever, we've got to deal with it. But it's about us. We're at home. We've got to try and set the tempo, and we've got to try and take the game to them. And if we do that, we've got to make sure we keep the door shut at the back, like we did against Stevenage. But it'll be a decent game of football.
You can make it 4 out of 4 at home. That's a great start to the season.
Yeah, it's a big ask. You know, tough game on Saturday, but I'm pleased with the way things have gone in general. Obviously, with our points tally from our home games is very, very decent, and you know, it's not going to be like that every week. But like I say, I'm just looking for a positive response from Saturday. You know, last Saturday's gone. We've learned from it. We've got to continue to learn from it. You know, week in, week out. We can't just be talking about it, saying we keep learning. You know, we're going to keep learning about it and not do anything right. But we've got to go with a positive attitude. We're at home, and like I say, we're the ones who the onus is on to go and attack.
Yeah, the chairman said that they need a few more people coming. I know every chairman probably thinks the same, but a few more people coming through the turnstiles. Do you think that's partly your job to play the sort of football that is going to attract people in?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course, it's my job. You know, I'd love 3,500-4,000 there. You know, week in, week out. Hopefully, the Oxford game will take care of itself. A bit of a local derby Tuesday night under the lights. Hopefully, you know, the supporters will turn up and make sure that we don't get outsung and made, you know, the opposition make more noise, because Oxford will bring a big contingent. You know, it's only just down the road. You know, they're on a high after, you know, getting promoted last season. They've got a lot of good players. And the same Saturday, you know, I think hopefully people realise we are trying to do things right. We are trying to play with a smile on our face, with lots of energy, lots of decent football, but also winning football. And hopefully that'll encourage people to turn up and really back the boys and know that they've got a team to be proud of.